Bandido's fire is both an annoying mosquito and a dragon's breath, and the universal language of chaos in The Division 2. You encounter them more often than you'd like, from the scorching touch of the outcasts, the menacing flamethrowers of the cleaners, turning your gameplay into impromptu barbecues. But I have great news, Bandidos. We're about to ignite your strategic brilliance with the ultimate fireproof hack. Today, it's not just about walking on fire. We're delving into how to craft effective burn resistance builds while minimizing the impact on your time to kill. In this video, I'll be handing you 2 damage-focused builds that have the exhilarating benefits of turning enemies' fire against them, fighting amidst the flames. I'm TuxedoBandido, and consider this build walkthrough your roadmap to becoming an invincible force in The Division 2.
Ain't too many kids bang with us. Situation is fight one. What you gonna do? Why go run?
Visualize a battlefield ablaze, enemies converging like a swarm, and flames weaving a tapestry of chaos. Fire in The Division 2 is no mere inconvenience. It's a relentless enemy that can turn missions into fiery ordeals. However, fire's challenges reach far beyond mere burns. Disorientation grabs hold when flames consume you, and when you're in this state, you can't get in cover or ADS, and your shots on target drop to an all-time low. Now, here's the kicker. It's ridiculously easy to be engulfed in flames. Touch a flame with your little toe? Congratulations, you're on fire. Fart in the general direction of a Molotov cocktail? Welcome to the Crispy Club. Agents in The Division 2 have a habit of washing their clothes in kerosene. Having a burn resistance build nestled in your arsenal seriously increases your advantage. By adjusting your loadout accordingly, you not only optimize your chances of survival, but also enhance the overall satisfaction of your gameplay. The effects of increasing burn resistance includes reduction in the duration of applied burn, prolonged temporary immunity after the burn ends, preventing immediate reapplication. Upon reaching the burn immunity threshold, prevention from being affected by further burn. However, it's important to note it does not decrease the damage of damaging effects such as burns. While it shortens the burn effect duration, the damage per tick does remain unchanged. It has no impact on damage types other than burns. These are distinct damage types, and burn resistance solely affects the damage over time from the burn status effect itself. The immunity threshold for burn status in The Division 2 is at 91.4%. Achieving immunity doesn't require a full 100% resistance. Note that. The fraction of a percent of this threshold makes it a bit challenging to not over or undershoot the immunity limit, and careful consideration of how the burn affects the survivability of your build is needed to determine whether you go above or below the 91.4% threshold. The fireproof hack. But this journey is more than fire immunity. We're venturing into crafting burn resistance builds that protect your effective time to kill in the game. Success hinges on balance. Because fire rarely comes without other types of damage, to become the true fire god, you still need to counter that. You can mix in some armor regeneration, bonus armor, or repair skills. Behold, 2 damage focused builds that allow you to unleash havoc on foes while reveling in complete fire immunity. But that's just the beginning. These builds are your gateway to using enemy fire against them, fighting fearlessly within the flames. Let's start with the sniper build. So I have assembled the build using a combination of hazard protection and burn resistance mods to be fully immune to fire and the damage coming from the fire status. For damage output, I'm running 2 pieces of hot shot. Starting with the mask, this is giving me 30% marksman rifle damage and 30% handling. I have weapon damage, headshot damage, and burn resistance. The gloves are weapon damage and headshot damage. For general hazard protection, which includes burn resistance and more, I'm running 2 pieces of Cavalier for 30% hazard protection. On the knees, I have damage and 10% hazard protection. On the holster, armor and headshot damage. The chest piece is Walker with Perfect Headhunter. I have weapon damage, hazard protection, headshot damage, and a burn resistance mod. The chest talent allows us to chain kill by giving us 1,250% damage based on the last headshot killing blow. The backpack is Providence with headshot damage, hazard protection, and burn resistance. The talent is Vigilance for more damage. Once we have Headhunter active, we don't really need the backpack talent anymore, so I'm not worried about it being disabled. My primary is the SRS with Determined for faster gameplay. All my mods are into handling. This build uses the mechanic of using the stronger sniper to activate Headhunter, then swapping to the SRS and getting a single headshot kill to activate Determined. From there, we can be more careless with our shots and play faster. My backup weapon is the Nemesis Exotic. I don't use it too much. The Fixer is my only source of heals, and I have a decoy to distract. Now, let me show you what it means to be immune to fire. There are plenty of sources around, and as you can see, they don't affect me. At the same time, I have the ultimate killing power, still hitting over 16 million to eliminate elites in a single shot. In solo play, I only need 10 million to do that, so there is overkill on this build. I can use in my favor for even more survivability, but I also have over immunity to fire. We're at 99.7%, and I only need 91.4% to be fully immune. Let's see what happens when I remove 10% burn resistance, putting us at 89.7%, just below full immunity to burn. Hey Bandidos, the community we have built together wouldn't have been possible without you. So as a thank you for supporting my channel and the community, I'm bringing you the hookup on member perks, including even more Division 2 content and the celebrated gaming music playlists. If you're not part of Tux's Players Club, now is your chance. As you can see, I am still immune, but this is environmental fire, and burn immunity to environmental fire starts earlier at 90.1% versus 91.4%. Since we are so close, I have an inconsistent immunity, sometimes igniting for a fraction of a moment. What's important to note is that it does take a fraction of an armor bar away. It's small enough you can heal through it without adding much to your build. Hold that thought, because we're going to use this to our advantage on the next iteration in just a moment. Now, when I take fire from an enemy, we are just under the immunity threshold as well, but a tad bit more. It's hard to tell, but I am catching on fire for just a moment. When you see immune above my head, I am not taking status. When it's not there, I am, but only for a split moment. I am taking heavy damage, but that's not the fire status you see, it's her weapon. I mentioned earlier that enemy fire doesn't usually come without some sort of additional damage. In this case, her torch. The impact from the flame itself is regular weapon damage, and fireproofing is not going to stop that, but it does stop me from taking status effects and damage over time from being caught on fire. Most importantly, the fireproof helps me retain my ability to actually fight back instead of wobbling around the field shooting myself in the foot. So as you can see, it's very helpful and adds to my survivability to be fireproof. For headshot builds like snipers, if you're running a scope, you can't shoot at all because you can't ADS when on fire. So on this setup, we have our fast time to kill and complete resistance to the enemy's special faction ability, fire. But for the build to be good, I gotta say, that's not enough. We're still taking enough damage from the sources of fire to need more of something else. A great segue to the next topic and build iteration on our way to be a fire-eating god. On this version, we need to make sure we're handling the other sources of damage that come with the fire so we can keep pushing forward to clear content quickly. I am putting back on the burn resistance mod for full immunity. I moved some pieces around, but it's the same build with the addition of the memento. This gives us an armor core and a skill tier. Here's why this is a good addition. Even if you're playing from cover, when we're on fire, we lose vigilance. The memento gives us 30% weapon damage the enemy can't remove with fire, and the 3% armor regen plus the healer with the skill tier are strong enough to heal us through damage from fire status. But right now we're immune to that, and it's enough to heal us from subsequent damage coming from the sources of fire, like weapon damage from torches or explosive damage from grenades. And if you are playing trophy to trophy like I am, you have the additional benefit of bonus armor as a shield. The skill efficiency will give us stronger heals too, and with this there are no consequences from any damage changes. We are still chain killing. Now I'm going to remove 10% burn resistance, pushing us to just below the immunity threshold, and what you see is us catching on fire for a split moment when we encounter new sources of fire. Our bonus armor and heals are going to handle any impact to our armor, so that's handled. And now the million-dollar question is, how does this affect our performance? You will have to answer this yourself, but for me, that blip of burn is so short, it's not worth adding another 10% burn resistance and overshooting the immunity threshold by so much. So to take the build to the next level, we're gonna meld fire fire immunity with protection from elites and bonus armor, constructing a build that not only wards off flames, but also amplifies your combat prowess. It's not just about surviving, it's about reigning supreme. In heroic content, there are so many elites, this is totally worth it. Any damage from the fire status blip we take from them will now be eliminated, while we are making our bonus armor and regular armor more resistant to their other sources of damage too. Now, we're still hitting over 17 million in damage, but we have one last step. Next, more resistance to damage. We can afford it because of all that overkill we have for this content. We only need 10 million to kill elites in solo, about 14 million for a 3-man group, and 17 million for a 4-man group. Since we're hitting 16.8 million, we basically have enough damage to handle group. But for solo heroic, I'm going to put on 1.5 million armor for heavy shielding. We will be at 90% burn resistance and 13% protection from elites. With this setup, we have stronger armor regen and 40% bonus armor per trophy, which is 600,000. And even with all that armor, we're hitting about 14 million. That's 4 million in overkill for solo heroic. If you are running in group, simply switch to the White Death to have the same effect, hitting about 19 million. That's adequate. Okay, if you're like me, a fanatic, you want your build even more godly. We'll dive into synergizing gear, mods, and attributes, constructing a setup that deflects flames while magnifying your combat capabilities. This is your opportunity to merge defense and offense seamlessly. I'm going to show you how real quick, and then we're going to get to the assault rifle build. So what I am doing is adding more hazard protection attributes and removing headshot damage. This opens up my mods for more protection from elites. You still have 1.5 million in armor, but now 39% protection from elites and 90% all around hazard protection, opening up the build to be even more useful against the other factions. We are fully immune to many of these status effects and will have the same diminished impacts on those we are not, like we saw with the fire. I have 4 directives for this demonstration. Assault rifle builds follow the same concept as a sniper build. We still need 90% burn resistance or full immunity at 91.4%. We still need resistance to the other inbound damage that comes with the fire sources and adequate recovery to clear content quickly. There are many routes to pick from, but your biggest concerns are going to be time to kill. There's a lot more involved in this weapon class to make it effective, and the loss of stats to burn resistance will put pressure on the balance of the build. Brand sets are the easiest to get hazard protection on because they have more attribute slots to work with. However, the latest gear sets offer more in survivability and damage in many cases, and any of them can work really, including Striker, Hunter's Fury, Umbra, and Heartbreaker, and some of the others. Striker worked out nicely, but in the end, a gear set that has defense built in is easier to work with for getting all the elements required. But don't let this discourage you from going with your favorite. Heartbreaker is an awesome choice because it gives you damage and bonus armor on hits, and pairs with one of the best assault rifles in the game, the Kingbreaker. This gives us 20% amp damage to pulse targets. I am running the Heartbreaker chest piece. We got assault rifle damage, handling, and 100 stacks of damage and bonus armor. The gloves have crits, the knees have hazard protection, and the holster has crits too. For the backpack, I went with the Yawl for 10% hazard protection. You can skip this if you want. We'll show you why in just a moment. I decided to go with the Bloodsucker talent for another type of bonus armor to get real tanky. You could also go with Wicked since you're burning enemies with their own fire all the time. I'm going with Technician. This gives us a skill tier and a laser pointer for the required pulls. I'm running a shield for more resistance, and it's strong at 5 skill tiers. Look at the stats. Notice we only have 70% burn resistance. Neat tricks inbound. So the bonus armor is going going to absorb damage from status, if any, and regular damage. But the strong shield will also be doing that too. Between the two, the damage collection adds up. So I'm going with the Catharsis Mask. It has a burn resistance mod, but we get up to 30% more damage as we take damage, including the damage our shield and bonus armor absorb. Not only do we get power, this gives us heals and removes status effects. This allows for a stand your ground playstyle and purges heals all the time this way. Then I added a booster hive, which gives us more handling, but also hazard protection. It's buffing us by 28%, pushing us over the immunity limit. Any gaps in burn resistance is manageable, and the amount of heals with the bonus armor is sufficient. And with this, we are critting over 1 million with high stacks. But that's just the beginning. These builds are your gateway to using enemy fire against them, fighting fearlessly within the flames. That's the trick. Imagine the satisfaction of turning enemies' fire into their own downfall. By being immune to their flames, you can use their firepower against them. They are taking fire damage and your bullet damage while you are standing eating the fire without flinching. The fire becomes a shield of sorts, but this protective barrier cooks the enemies and makes things very chaotic for them. This becomes a strategic advantage, allowing you to turn their deadliest weapon into your ally. Agents, this isn't just a tutorial, it's a transformational odyssey. Fire immunity, burn resistance builds, and tactical mastery are within your grasp, but beyond that, it's about embracing the exhilarating benefits of using enemy fire against them, fighting within the flames and emerging victorious. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more strategic insights. A juggernaut killer tank build that never has to reload. Yep, this happened.
Follow me.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.